Hello and welcome back to the Golf Ireland pod. I am your host Stephen Murphy. Delighted to have you as always. Thank you for tuning in, and we're back with another episode for the Golf Ireland pod. Plenty of action as always. Another great guest this week in Liam Nolan, which will be coming up to you shortly, and also a preview of the upcoming action this weekend and next week as well. But as always, we will start by looking backwards. Two big events to recap this week. We'll start with the European Senior Team Championships for both the senior men and the senior women in Ireland. The men's competition took place in the Czech Republic and the women's in Spain. And we'll start with the Irish women. The team came up just short of gold in the Flight A final at the European Senior Ladies Team Championship. Deirdre Walsh's brilliant 4-2 win over Soledad Fernandez de Eros wasn't enough as Spain took control in three of the other matches at the Parador El Sailor Golf Club in Spain. Suzanne Corcoran, Gertie McMullen unfortunately fell to a narrow 2-holes defeat in the opener, while Tracy Eakin managed to tie her match. However, the European champion Alison Taylor lost 4-2, and Laura Webb she lost 3-2, which signalled the end of the Brave Irish Challenge. So unfortunate there for the women's team, but fantastic effort as always. The Irish men bounced back from a disappointing defeat to England to secure bronze in their third place playoff, thanks to a convincing 4-1 win over Italy at the Royal Golf Club Mariansk Lazny in Czech Republic. The team of Colin Cunningham and Noel Crawford claimed the 4-3 win over Gianluca Bola and Massimo Franco, and then Jodie Flanagan beat Franz Fotzel, probably pronounced that wrong, 4-3, with European champion Eddie McCormick defeating Michael Bosco 3-2. And then finally Alan Condren and Joe Lyons both halved their matches. So well done there to the men's team for a third place finish. Fantastic effort for both teams there. So well done to all involved. We will now turn our attention then, of course, to the All-Ireland Interclub Finals at Dún Laoghaire. This included the AIG Men's and Women's Senior Cup, and then the AIG Men's Barton Shield and AIG Women's Senior Foursomes. We'll start with the Barton Shield. Lisburn are the winners of the AIG Men's Barton Shield, while Roscommon took the AIG Women's Senior Foursomes title after some thrilling matches at Dún Laoghaire Golf Club. Lisburn battled hard throughout in the morning in the matches, and they were very tight against a strong Carton House team. Chris Moles holed a crucial putt in the 14th hole to build momentum, get his match back to all square, having been 3 down through 9 holes. Fantastic stuff. David Shield holed a long putt in the last hole for birdie, and Moles once again holed a crucial 15th footer to halve the hole, which resulted in Carton House winning the first match 1-up. Lisburn birdied the 17th hole in their back match to take an advantage and be 2 up heading down the last. Aaron Marshall hit a hybrid from 229 yards out to 15 feet to set up the match for set up his win, which is an incredible shot. And then a 2-putt birdie was enough for Marshall and Ryan Symington to win the match and give Lisburn the green pennant. So huge congratulations there to Lisburn. Some great golf played clearly. So well done there to all involved. Roscommon won their first AIG Women's Senior Foursomes title after coming up just short a number of times in the past few years. They were out in front at the start and looked strong in their matches against Malone. Ruth Lennon and Joan O'Gara put the first point on the board for their teams with a 5-3 win. And both the second and third match were dormy with 2 holes to go, but it was Sinead Benedetti and Anne Quirk who sealed the title for Roscommon with a 2-1 win. Sheila Fallon, the Roscommon team captain, was thrilled to finally get over the line and take the cup back to the club to their club for the first time. So well done there to the Roscommon team. Castle claimed the AIG Men's Senior Cup by beating Naas. Castle captain Archie McAvoy said the experience of having Rob Moran and Alex Gleeson helped, but it was a massive team effort by the entire team there at Castle. Moran was recently crowned AIG Men's Close Champion, while Gleeson won the same prize back in 2016, and they both earned hard-fought points in the final to help their side to a 3-2 win over Naas. For Castle, this is their only other win came back in 2012. When Jack Walsh, a team member, was 16, and he featured in that success. And together, Gleeson, Peter McKeever, and Dan Holland provided vital experience this time around. Moran added another touch of class, and it was enough to seal a famous win. Last year's Barton Shield winners saw Ross McKeever claim an impressive 1-up win over Rob Brazel. Moran beat David Marshall 3-2, and Gleeson had a 2-1 victory over Sam Gamble. So a huge well done to Castle there. Some fantastic golfers and some fantastic golf being played. And then finally, Royal Portrush won the AIG Women's Senior Cup thanks to a 3.5 to 1.5 win against County Sligo and ending their 10-year wait for glory. Royal Portrush were the first team through to the afternoon's final after the women defeated Kilkenny 3.5 to 1.5. And the interprovincial winning Ulster contingent led the charge with Gemma McMeekin, Amy O'Donnell and Judith Allen all securing points. In the final then, Allen's comprehensive 6.5 win set the tone for Royal Portrush, and then McMeekin followed up with a 3-1 victory, and it was left for Amy O'Donnell to seal the win on the 16th green. Amazing result there for Royal Portrush, and with 4 of this year's Ulster interprovincial winning side and 2 14-year-olds in their selection, Royal Portrush have the potential to return again for a 28th crown, and I wouldn't be betting against them. So an amazing couple of results there, all very deserving winning teams with some great golf being played, so well done to all involved. We also had the Leinster Senior Women's Close Competition, which took place on Monday at Mullingar Golf Club. The winner here was Vera Hanlon from Millicent Golf Club. She won on 40 points. Runner-up then was Eleanor Brazel, also on 40 points. Vera winning on a countback. Eleanor also won the gross prize. And then in third place, Rosemary Whelan from Mullingar Club itself came in third place on 39 points. And fourth was Petria Cheevers from Beach Park on 38 points. And in the over 70s section, Mary Nolan won that. Oh, sorry, Jacinta Gary won the Mary Nolan Trophy. Apologies. So well done to Jacinta Gary there. And to all the winners there at Mullingar Golf Club for the Leinster Senior Women's Close. That kind of recaps all of the action from last week. I will now throw it over to my conversation with Liam Nolan. I'm now delighted to be joined by Liam Nolan, who is graciously taking some time out of his busy schedule to join me here on the Golf Ireland pod. Liam, thank you so much for joining. How are you today?
I'm all good, Stephen. Thanks for having me on.
You're back relaxing in your home after a very busy summer. I'm sure you're happy for some downtime.
Yeah, relaxing into my final year of biomedical engineering isn't my ideal relaxing scenario, but yeah, I know it's a nice change to be back home as well.
Absolutely. Well, as I said, you've had a busy summer. We can't have you on and not start with the Walker Cup. It's still fresh in the memory, and obviously an incredible occasion. What's the first emotions that come to mind, Liam, when you look back at that Walker Cup?
Emotions, probably pride. It was just such a special week, and of course the weekend was just amazing there when all the family are over and you're playing for your county and your country, like, so, and to hear, like, to see the flags go up, the Irish flag in the opening ceremony and the national anthems, it was a really special week for sure.
Is that something that you thought would be emotional for you, seeing the Irish flag, or is it not something that you thought about until you actually had to see it in person?
I didn't actually think about it, but all of our managers for the week, kind of before we went to the opening ceremony, were like, really enjoy this now. This is your moment. The opening ceremony is huge. And I was kind of thinking, like, it's the opening ceremony. I don't know what they're really on about, like, because I've never really been involved in any really big opening ceremonies before. Kind of just, things you do before a tournament starts, but nothing huge. So it was a big shock to see the turnout for the opening ceremony. And yeah, there was a lot of emotions as well when the flags were going up, for sure.
Brilliant. The team seemed to bond really quickly. Is that just natural with these Walker Cup teams? Is it a tactic by the coaches maybe to get you guys all bonding as quick as possible, or how is it just something that comes with the territory?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, everyone on the team's friendly with each other because we all kind of play the same tournaments every year. You see a lot of each other, but the managers did a very good job. They had us out to St Andrews in April and again in July for kind of squad sessions, just not more so just to get to know each other more than anything. So when the final team was picked and we all got over there a week before the tournament started, we were all very familiar with each other and knew everyone really well, which was nice.
Having the 3 other Irish guys there with you on the team, was that a comforting experience? Maybe at the start when it was a bit maybe nervy.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose so. Like, we know everyone so well, but to have 4 Irish guys on the team is a really special feeling. I mean, if you go back in time in the history of it, it's been predominantly dominated by English and the larger island of Great Britain and Ireland. So to have majority of the country Ireland on it, it's really, really nice feeling to have, and the lads so well as well. So yeah, we were a really united group for the week.
Obviously, the result wasn't what you guys wanted on the GB&I team, but you yourself had a fantastic week personally and played some great golf. Does that ease the sting of defeat slightly in a selfish way, or are you still just so disappointed in the team result?
Yeah, I think when you're there as a team, you want to do well yourself, of course, but the overall goal is to win as a team. So while I played well, and I had a really fun week on the course, it was tough to get over the loss for sure. We were very close, and then just USA came out swinging in the final session, and it was just a little bit too much for us on the day.
That American team, yeah, as you said, like they had that fantastic singles session on the Sunday. What is it about that team and the kind of historically American team, especially when it comes to the singles, where they just seem to separate themselves?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I just think they're obviously all unbelievable golfers. Pretty much, they're all in college, but they're all pretty much full-time golfers, And you wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of them lads make it on the top level. And I don't think they were a better team than us as such, because we brought them all the way up to the very end. It could have gone either way, really. So you can take a lot of pride in that as well, knowing that you brought the best players in the world, to St. Andrews for a really good fight.
As you said, even the singles matches, although they were in America's favour, a lot of them were 2-1s and 3-2s, which is by no means a comprehensive win, especially at that level of golf. You mentioned though, like a lot of these American guys, the likes of Gordon Sargent, obviously was the #1 amateur in the world. These guys will go on to play in PG Tours, possibly win majors. It has to be a huge confidence boost for your own game and the rest of the guys in GB&I that you guys live with that. You guys push them to the edge. That has to be hugely confidence boosting.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at world ranking and you see they're literally 1 down through 10, and that's their team. But I was talking to the president of the USGA, and he put it very well. He said it's not a reflection of how you're playing; it's a reflection of where you're playing. And it just showed last week, because we had guys that were like, I'm ranked outside the top 100 and didn't feel out of my comfort zone at all playing those guys. So yeah, it's definitely a confidence boost for future career in golf, possibly, or if you were to play those guys again.
Absolutely. Your Saturday single match against Greaser, I wanted to highlight that because it was a classic kind of match play game where you didn't lead at any stage throughout the match, and then you birdie 18 to win the point, and absolutely break poor Greaser's heart. That must have been incredible for you, even just having the mental fortitude, to stick with that match and then pull it out on 18. That must have been hugely satisfying.
Yeah. I was 2 down with 5 to go, and I birdied 14 and 15 to get back to all square. And just having your friends and family around, cheering you on for the last few holes there, it really propels you to go forward and put in a big effort just for the last few holes. And then had hit the green on 18 and had a really good 2-putt, and he was down in the Valley of Sin, and yeah, so I liked my odds once I 2-putted, but completely expecting him to 2-putt as well, so it was more relief when I lagged my putt over for the birdie, knowing I probably wouldn't lose the match, and I fought back well to get at least half a point, and it was just a bit of a cherry on top when he missed his putt for the half. So yeah, no, it was a great game.
I want to talk about something you mentioned there, and we've all heard as golfers who maybe played in competitions or match play. You were fully expecting him to make a putt there. We all know that in theory that's what we should do. How hard is it actually to convince yourself that, though, especially when it's such a big occasion? It's going to be so amazing to win that match point. Is it so tough to convince yourself that okay, he will make this putt, and you have to make your putt then?
Well, see, I was already in the hole, so he just had a putt. Either he missed or he made for the half or the win. So No, I think, when you're playing a guy of Austin Greaser's level, it's very easy to convince yourself he's going to make every putt. I mean, that's why he's where he is in the world. And I was kind of saying it all day. He'd have tricky 8-footers for halves or for the win, and he made them all day. So very easy to convince myself that he was going to make that one. But it was a tough putt, and yeah, I just slipped by, and I was very happy.
It'd be much tougher to convince yourself if you're playing me, Liam. You'd really have to convince yourself. It would be a
You wouldn't
mental
know. You
battle.
wouldn't know. You might have a hot day on the green.
Maybe get hot. What was your opinions on St Andrews? Had you much experience with that course before you went over for the warm up trips?
Yeah, I mean, I've played it a bunch of times, and yeah, I love the course. The greens is where it gets really hard. The slopes are so severe, and depending on where they put the pins, if you could hit a good shot and have a really tough two putt. So it's the greens really that gets you. It's quite a generous course off the tee, but I mean, in my opinion, 14 to 18 is probably the best stretch of holes of golf I've ever played. It's just magic walking back in towards the town, and the holes are so good on the way back in there. So it's a great place to host the Walker Cup.
Yeah, it looked amazing on TV. Have you had time to kind of reflect on now that your name will be forever linked with this event? The fact that it took place at St Andrews, you're the first Irishman from a Galway golf club to participate in the Walker Cup as well. Has that had time to sink in yet, or will it be even 10, 20 years down the line that maybe you look back and be like, wow, that was pretty special?
I'm trying my best to think back on the week now. Like, people are kind of asking me, are you sad now that it's over and it's a big come down after having such a high? But I'm actually kind of just enjoying, sitting at home and looking back on the week as well and being able to rest, because it took a lot out of me. But yeah, I think a lot of it has sunk in, but I don't know if all of it will ever sink in. I mean, it was such an amazing week, and no one can ever take that away from you. So I'm delighted to have been a part of it.
Absolutely. Last question regarding kind of World Cup. I've seen a quote from yours and I really found it fascinating. You said, I was very nervous in the first hole. I made a really bad bogey, but then as soon as that happened, all the nerves kind of just left and I settled into it. And I find it fascinating because I feel like a lot of average amateurs would a bad bogey would almost put them into a spiral of compounding errors, but yet for you it seemed to almost do the opposite, where it cleared your mind and the nerves kind of left. Can you dig into that a little bit for us and just kind of talk about the mindset behind that?
Yeah, I mean, the first hole I knew was obviously going to be very nervy because there's such a big crowd around that tee box, and the fairway is so wide that anyone would notice like a bad golf shot that's heading like towards the burn or towards the out of bounds. So I nearly shanked an iron, went like within 10 yards of the out of bounds, hit a terrible wedge and three putted. So um, I was one down, and then I suppose I was still nervous over the second tee shot, but I hit a really good one down the middle. And then I was like, right, there's the first good shot of the day. Let's just, hit a few more and we'll be all right. But I'm not really sure why I wasn't nervous at all in the second hole. I think it's just, you put so much practice in. You've been in high pressure situations before, and there's a reason that you do all this practice is for moments like that. So you just putting trust in yourself.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I just find it fascinating because I know for me that would be like, oh, here we go, here comes another bogey or something like that. But that's why you're the level you are and we're the level we are. So that's fantastic. I really find that really interesting. You've also represented Ireland before, and that must be is that a very proud, again, accolade to your resume as well that you've represented your country.
Oh, 100%. That means everything. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you get to represent your country, it's the same feeling of pride in wearing the Irish colours and the Golf Ireland colours, and just going and trying to get, as far into a competition as you can for Ireland. And it doesn't matter how many times you've represented them or what the competition is that you're representing them in. It's the same feeling that you need to go out and try your best for your country.
With your experience now with that World Cup, which I think is, is it fair to say that's the biggest event you've ever been a part of in terms of your golfing career?
Sure.
Yeah. Will that now, when it comes to other events that maybe before would have been maybe, nerve-wracking, would you be more relaxed now in those events just because you've played that kind of higher level?
I'm not really sure, to be honest, but I'd imagine that like I probably won't be that nervous again for a while. But if you're playing in any tournament that means a lot to you, which is pretty much every golf tournament you play in, otherwise you wouldn't play. You're gonna have a level of nerves, and especially if you're representing Ireland anywhere, or in a big amateur individual tournament, nerves are always going to be there. But I suppose I can take a lot from my experience in the Walker Cup to kind of be like, this is how nervous you were, and this was the outcome. So it's a nice thing to bring with you into golf tournaments, that experience.
Absolutely. Watch out for Liam Nolan, I think is fair to say after that. You've mentioned already you're going to your final year at NUIG and you study biomedical engineering. For everyone listening at home, can you explain in one sentence what biomedical engineering is, please?
Yeah, it's pretty much all of the mechanics that happen inside your body and trying to design medical devices to deal with any faults inside of your body.
Wow, very, very important stuff. So, how is the kind of work-life balance? I use that term obviously, but you need to practice a lot to keep up your level of golf, but you're studying, especially in a very difficult field like that, going into your final year. How are you going to balance those kind of areas of your life?
I kind of enjoy it actually, because college, you have a timetable every week. You're more structured. You have a routine every single week. And if as long as you're decent at planning, you can fit everything in. Whereas golf during the summer, you don't know what country you're going to be in from week to week. So there's a lot of uncertainty in that, and I find comfort in knowing what I'm going to be doing every week here during the winter. So yeah, just work hard at college and then fit in gym and golf whenever I can around that timetable I have.
Is it almost nice now being back and just being a student rather than you've had a hectic summer, as you said? It's been very, very busy. Is it almost nice just being back and being Liam Nolan, a student, more so than the golfer?
Yeah, Mom doesn't like to hear it, but I always tell her that I'm going back to college to relax, and she's an academic woman, so she doesn't really like hearing that, but excuse me, I just say it more to get under her skin, really. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big change being back in college, but a change I'm definitely gonna enjoy for a little while anyways.
Absolutely, as you should. Well, Liam, look, I thank you so much. We will leave it there. Appreciate you coming on as always. We wish you best in your studies for your final year and also in your golf career as well. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks very much, Stephen. See you now.
Thank you again to Liam Nolan there for joining me here on the Golf Ireland pod. Fantastic to speak to him, and best of luck to him in his studies. Let's look ahead to the upcoming tournaments. Tomorrow, the 14th of September, the All-Ireland Interclub Finals at Knightsbrook Golf Club kicks off. This is a huge bumper event. It includes the AIG Men's Junior Cup, the AIG Women's Junior Foursomes, the AIG Men's Pierce Purcell, the Revive Active Women's 4-Ball, and the AIG Women's Challenge Cup, and finally the Flowgas Irish Mixed Foursome. So plenty of golf there being played. Best luck to all involved over the coming days. On the 18th of September, Ulster North of Ireland Amateur Open qualifying tournament takes place at Castle Rock. So keep an eye out on social medias for that. Best luck to all taking part as well in that on the 18th of September. We also have some team news. So Jodie Flanagan returns from reaching the final of the US Senior Amateur to join the Irish Men's Senior Home International teams. There's also the Irish Women's Senior Home International team as well. Both teams have been announced for the event at West Kilbride in Scotland between the 19th and the 21st of September, with the European Senior Team Championships acting as the ideal preparation this week. Flanagan is joined by Carl Borneman, Jim Carville, David Mulholland, John O'Brien, Declan O'Neill and Peter Sheehan, which is a brilliant team, and best luck to all the men. And then on the women's side, European champion Alison Taylor is selected alongside Suzanne Corcoran, Lisa Cullen, Tracy Eakin, Gertie McMullen, Deirdre Walsh and Laura Webb. So best of luck to both teams taking part in that championship. I'm sure you'll do Golf Ireland very, very proud. Also currently we have Aideen Walsh in the US Women's Mid-Am, which is taking place in the States. She is taking part. Jessica Ross was unfortunately defeated in the round of 64. But great golf there from Jessica, and best of luck to Aideen. And then on the men's also, defending champion Matt McLean has unfortunately missed a cut at the US Men's Mid-Am, but Hugh Foley is through to the match play, so best of luck to Hugh. And you can keep up to date with all of those scores online and at Golf Ireland social pages as always. And yeah, I think that wraps up another great episode here on the Golf Ireland pod. Thank you as always for listening. We really do appreciate it. And as always, we will be back next Wednesday to recap all the action again. So until then, we will see you.